This video is about the Lowell factories. You will learn who developed the system, what was done in these factories, and all about the Lowell girls. Let's start out with the Lowell family. They were a prominent family that formed in Massachusetts. This family included the founder of the first textile mill in the United States, Francis Cabot Lowell. Francis was born in Newburyport, Massachusetts, on April 7, 1775. His textile mill performed many operations that included converting raw cotton into finished cloth. Francis also developed an efficient power loom and spinning devices, along with another inventor. There was a lot of history behind the famous Lowell factories. In 1832, Lowell was a very small town that was considerably a little more than a factory village. At this time, 5 corporations were started, and the cotton mills belonging to them were building. Word spread all around the country about the new factory place and about how high the wages were that were offered to the employees. Soon, troops of young girls traveled from New England and Canada in hope of a new career. Men were employed to collect the large groups of women and deliver them to the factories. These new factories hugely expanded manufacturing interests and were very innovative to the U.S. Industrial Revolution. The factory system was said to have had cultural and educational opportunities for the young women who had lived in boarding houses or farms. Lowell believed that providing safe workspaces, comfortable living conditions, and a socially acceptable working and living environment would ensure a steady supply of labor. Susan, a mill girl at the time, started her first letter by saying, "It looked very pleasant at first. The rooms were so light, spacious, and clean, the girls so pretty and neatly dressed, and the machinery so brightly polished or nicely painted." The opening of these factories established new patterns of employment and urban development that soon spread around New England and elsewhere. By 1840, there were more than 8,000 textile workers attending the textile mills. Primarily, the employees that worked in the factory were women and young children that came from farming backgrounds. These women were known as mill girls. Many of the early mill girls were different ages, but the majority of workers were between the ages of 16 and 25. The girls were paid a total of $2 a week. This period in time was said to have been the greatest hardship in the lives of the children who spent their days working at the mills. Therefore, a 10-hour law passed for the reduction of hours of labor. During this time, it was extremely hard for women to earn money and support their family. Due to the unhappiness that newly occurred within the factories, one of the first strikes that ever took place in this country began. The strike started when it was announced that the wages were cut down. The mills soon shut down. The girls went to the Grove on Chapel Hill and listened to incidentary speeches from some early labor reformers. The girls shortly became tired of holding out, so they went back to work with the reduced wages. Mary Paul, another mill girl, wrote a letter to her father stating, "I never worked so hard in my life, but perhaps I shall get used to it." All in all, these factories never actually turned out to be as comforting as Lowell hoped, but they caused a large change in the Industrial Revolution.